For my first birthday, my mom dressed me in a beautiful outfit, bought me a whole cake just for me, and let me eat and demolish it to my heart's content. This is my first idea of what unrestrained eating looks like and what it might mean to tell a child that she is being celebrated so she can eat as much as she likes, as messily as she likes. As young women grow up, they are commonly told that this is a cute idea, but it's not true. Unrestrained eating might be okay for a baby on her first birthday and professional athletes who need the extra calories, but it's not okay for women who want to be attractive to others. When does a young woman first hear this message? Maybe she is teased for her baby fat and is insulted for her weight. Maybe she watches emaciated models parade around on screen and in front of her, and she tries to fit her frame to theirs. Maybe she is abused, and unable to handle her pain, she directs her anger and sadness inward, attempting to control the chaos of trauma by managing her weight calorie by calorie. However she arrives at this moment, in which she realizes that eating must be controlled and not enjoyed, the woman who gets there will never have the same relationship with eating again. Eating will no longer be a pastime or a necessity. Eating will be a game. Western culture has many ways in which we ritualize and gamify eating. I remember being told as a child that I had to take X number more bites before I could receive a desired prize, time watching television or dessert, for example. A favored method for feeding children is the helicopter method, in which a parent pretends to land a plane, a piece of food on a fork, in a child's mouth. We, in U.S. American culture, watch shows such as The Biggest Loser and celebrate those of us who lose weight and engage in extreme physical challenges. We want to celebrate those who can restrain their bodies and those who can seemingly conquer the looming threat and basic need of hunger. In earlier times, women who could control their food intake were thought to be supernatural beings who did not need food to survive. As Joan Jacob Brumberg explains, visitors would come from all around to view these women, and they would pay fees in order to sit by their bedside and observe them to make sure that they were truly living without eating or drinking. But now, as Brumberg points out in Fasting Girls, The History of Anorexia Nervosa, women who can manage their eating habits are thought to be of a certain social status. Wealthy and important women, society tells us, can afford an excess of food and yet they go without it. This supposedly demonstrates that they are restrained and elegant people. Gluttony, we are told, is a mark of the poor, of those who can't afford food, those who can't afford to go without, those who can't control themselves. We see these messages being portrayed in other arenas too. For example, in ballet, a slim figure is desirable because it allows the dancer to perform with agility and grace. A thin figure is expected as part of this ritual or game in some arenas, just as musicality might be valued in an opera production or creativity might be hoped for in a writing classroom. But food reaches beyond our individual bodies and extends to the ways in which we understand ourselves and our places within the world. In many cultures, food is also tied closely to identity. We eat with family and friends around intimate dinner tables, and we form a community there based on the food that we prepare, exchange, and ingest together. We bring food to those who are sick or undergoing a difficulty of some kind, and this gift immerses us in the cultural economy of food exchange. When we bake eggplant parmesan or an apple pie for a new neighbor, for example, we are extending more than food to them. We are offering membership in a community. The United States even has a national meal, Thanksgiving, just as Jewish culture's meal is the Seder. Food can serve as an organizing principle through which we connect to others, ascribe to the discourse and rituals of our culture, and express community with other people. Eating as gaming, then, can be a positive way of interacting with others, but eating as gaming can also become very dangerous. For example, anorexia nervosa is an eating disorder that is commonly associated with an obsessive desire to control and manage eating habits. While many women count calories and attempt to exercise on a regular basis, a woman with anorexia will oftentimes go to extreme lengths to play the deadly games of calorie restriction and weight loss. In Caroline Knapp's memoir, Appetites: Why Women Want, she reflects on her eating disorder as it was influenced by cultural norms surrounding female restraint. She writes, quote, "Decoded, the imperatives here were clear. We all live with them. Size matters. Control of size, of portions, of body, of desire itself matters. Suppressing appetite is a valued ambition, even if it eclipses other ambitions, even if it makes you crazy. I paid attention. I lost 5 pounds, then another 5. Message absorbed, amplified, and then, how do you stay so thin? Duly rewarded. Other women might struggle with hunger. I could transcend it, end quote. Notice the language that Knapp uses here and how it resonates with terms that might apply to playing a game, such as ambition, reward, transcendence, suppression, and decoding. I am not trying to make light of Knapp's experience with anorexia here, as it is a serious and deadly illness. But I am trying to point out the extent to which gaming informs not only discourse about play, sports, and technology, but also discourse about the ways in which we navigate feeding ourselves and others. Eating as gaming, then, may provide some women with a way to face the contradictory messages that inundate them, messages that tell them that they should be both thin, without appetite, and also voracious for other types of pleasure. Women are also told that they can have it all, that they can have anything they want, but then they face messages and experiences that tell them otherwise on a daily basis. This can lead to troubling experiences with agency on the one hand and helplessness on the other. Along these lines, Knapp characterizes her eating disorder as a way of navigating these contradictory messages. She explains, quote, "Food over time became a terrible, powerful symbol of how much I wanted on the one hand and how certain I was that I'd never get enough on the other. And my denial of food thus became the most masterful solution. I'm so hungry, I'll never get fed." If that is one's baseline understanding of the world, and I suspect it was mine at the time, starving makes sense. Controlling food becomes a way of expressing that conflict and also denying it. Your needs are overwhelming, you can't depend on yourself or others to meet them, you don't even know what they are, then need nothing. At a time when I felt adrift and confused and deeply unsure of myself, starving gave me a goal, a way to stand out and exert control, something I could be good at, end quote. Jesper Juul in The Art of Failure approaches the concept of failure in a way that lends itself to this question of eating as gaming. He notes that some players may intentionally try to fail to exert a measure of control over their process or to displace responsibility for that failure. More specifically, he explains, quote, "Some players set themselves up for failure in order to avoid feeling that failure is a genuine measure of their skills, of who they are," end quote. Juul later adds that one strategy for self-defeat is, quote, "playing badly in order to avoid the social consequences of succeeding," end quote. By referencing these lines from Juul, I do not mean to insinuate that women with anorexia consciously choose to engage in self-starving behaviors, and I also do not hope to insinuate that they are responsible for their starvation. I do, however, suggest that women with eating disorders might be responding to their anxieties and fears about womanhood and the complex pressures it brings by trying to fail at the task of becoming a woman. Succeeding at becoming a woman in the normative sense opens endless possibilities for being abused, silenced, and challenged, while simultaneously being told that you have agency, that it's a woman's world. Is there any wonder, if we think of it this way, that some women would wish to fail even at the expense of their own life?